In this lesson, we're looking at bearings. Bearings are used in navigation. A bearing is an angle measurement that is used to precisely describe one location from a given reference point. And there are two types of bearings, which are compass bearings and true or three-figure bearings. So these bearings help us indicate where a point is in comparison with another point, which is what we call the reference point. Okay, so three-figure bearings, according to this, are also called true bearings. They all use angles from 0 degrees to 360 degrees to show the amount of turning measured clockwise from north 00 degrees. Oh, sorry, triple 0 degrees. The three-figure bearings are always written with 3 digits. So basically, every angle is going to start from here, and it's going to turn this way until it reaches a certain point. And let's just say we hit this way, and that angle will be like 125 or so. Okay, so it's always starting from a northerly direction, going in a clockwise direction until it hits some kind of angle. Okay, and that's always our bearing. But that's only true bearings, whereas we've also got compass bearings. So compass bearings refer to 16 points of Bermuda's compass. That's this. So I think all of us will be very familiar with the fact that we have north, south, east, and west, and in between them are these north, east, southeast, southwest, and northwest directions. Now, in between these two, okay, the north and northeast, is what we call north or northeast. Okay, so basically you start with northeast, but it's actually going back to a little bit to the northerly direction. But if we go this way, then what we'd have to do is chuck an E in front of it to make sure we say that it is east or slightly east of the northeast direction. Okay, and same with these ones here. So this is southeast, but closer to east. So we say east of southeast. But this one here is southeast, but it's close to south, so it's south of southeast. Okay, this one here is southwest, but it's being really close to south, so we chuck south in front of it, and so forth. So this will generate all the compass bearings on the right side here. Okay, and the names are also on the bottom if we forget any one of them, right? The other thing I must mention is that the angle between north and northeast is 45. So this is 45 usually. But if you divide it by 2, that means this is 22.5 degrees, and this is 22.5 degrees also. Okay, so when you have these 16 points of a mariner's compass, okay, so that, etc., all the way around the shape, then the angle between them is always 22.5. Just have to remember that. Right, going on to the next bit. In which quadrant, northeast, southeast, southwest, or northwest, does each bearing lie? So for the first one, okay, 332 would be around here because this is 90, 180, 270, and 330 will be somewhere there. Okay, so it's pointing to the northwest direction. 245 would be a bit more than 180, but under 270, so it's going to point this direction. So that's going to be in the southwest direction. 169 is going to be past 90, but before 180, so that's going to be in this direction. Whereas 7 degrees will be this way. Okay, that's the angle, which is 7 degrees. So that's northeast. 218 degrees, though, will be a bit more than 180. Okay, but under 270, so it's pointing this direction, which is southwest. And 95 degrees is a bit more than 90, so it's around here. That's in the southeast direction. Okay, so all we're doing is identifying which quadrant it's at. Now, for question 2, we're going to find the compass as well as the true bearing of each of the following directions. And what I'll do first for these first 6 questions is I'll do the compass bearing. So the compass bearing requires us to figure out whether this line is closer to north or south first. So how much, like, do you have to turn less to get to north or less to get to south? It will be north. So it's closer to north, so we're going to write north. But how much do you have to turn uh, from the northerly direction towards that line is 52 degrees towards the easterly direction. So we say it's east, like that. Whereas for question B, if we start from the northerly direction, we have to turn this way, okay, towards the westerly direction, and we turn a full angle of 63 degrees. So we go from north, we have to turn 60 degrees towards the westerly direction, and that's our compass bearing. Now, question C, this line is actually closer towards south compared to north. So we're going to say that from the south direction, we have to turn around 55 degrees to get to that line that points towards A. So we go, it's south 55 degrees east. Now, for question D, this is a little bit different, only because if you have a look at it, this angle is actually not between south and that line. So from south, we have to calculate how much we turn here to get to that line. And that is 90 minus the 33, which is going to become 57 degrees. So we're going to say that the angle is south 57 degrees west. Question E, that line is closer towards north, and from north we have to rotate 90 degrees, oh not 90 degrees, 70 degrees, sorry, clockwise to reach that line pointing towards A. So that's 70 degrees, so we go north 70 degrees east. Now for question F, this line is closer to north rather than south, and the angle starting from north turning towards that line there is going to become 90 minus that angle, which is 55. So we say it is north 55 degrees west. Okay. So what we've done here is we have just found out what the compass bearing is. Now what we've got to do is calculate what the true bearing is. So the true bearing doesn't start from either north or south, but always starts from north. Okay, so it has to start from this direction and go in a clockwise motion until it hits the line going towards the letter A. So that angle there will be 52. So our true bearing will be 052 degrees true bearing. Okay, so true bearing, remember, is another name for a three-figure bearing, and if it's 52 degrees, well, I have to put a 0 in front of it to make it three-figure. However, if you don't write that, that's okay as well. It's all good. And same with the T. The T just represents true bearing. You don't necessarily have to write that either, but it's just a good indication that it's true bearing. Okay. But as for question B, we now have to calculate what this is. Okay. So starting from north in a clockwise motion, that's the angle you're going to calculate, and we calculate it by getting 360 minus 63, which is going to become 297 degrees. Okay, so that is our bearing. Okay. Okay. For question C, we have to calculate what this angle is. So if we start from a northerly direction and we rotate until we go to that line, then we're rotating a total of 180 subtracted by 55, which is 125 degrees. So that is our true bearing, 125 degrees true bearing. For question D, we're required to find out this whole angle here. Okay, so starting from north going clockwise again until we hit that line, that will be a total of 270, which is 3 quadrants worth of angles, but then we subtracted by this angle to give the blue part left. So we're just going to get 270, which is 3 quadrants, minus 33, which is basically 237 degrees. Now, for question E, this one's simple. Starting from north, going clockwise motion, that would be just 70 degrees. True bearing. Whereas for the last one, start from north and go clockwise all the way around until we get there. That is simply 270 degrees here, plus by another 35 to get the full angle. So that would be 270 plus 35, which is 305 degrees. Okay, so those are our true bearings. Now these ones are quite straightforward only because we have the compass bearing. Okay, so we have the compass they're going, which is the cross, so north, east, south, and west. Whereas if we have a look at the next one, question G, we don't have that at all. Now you can simply add that in like this, and then find out all the bearings that we need to find. Like that. And so if we start off again with our compass bearings, what's going to happen is we have to find out, is this close to north or south, which in this case is north. So we go north, 59 degrees, but it's heading towards the east. Okay. Whereas for this one, this line is closer to north, but you have to rotate it 78 degrees towards the westerly direction. Oops. So that means, sorry, that means it is north 78 degrees west. Okay. For question I, this line is actually in the bottom half of the compass bearing, so it is actually closer to south. So from south, what is the angle that we got to calculate to get back here? Is 180 minus that angle, which is going to become 82 degrees. So from south, we have to write it's 82 degrees angled towards the easterly direction. For question K, that line is closer to south. We have to angle it that way to head in that direction. So, well, that 240 is all the way there. But if we just minus the 180 that we have here, 240 minus 180 is 60 degrees left. From there to there. And so that will be starting with south, but angle 60 degrees towards the westerly direction. Now, as for K, that line is close to north. So we start from north. We have to angle it this way to get to that line. So what is that angle? We have to get 360 minus 283, and 360 minus 283 is going to become 77 degrees. So we say that our compass bearing will be north 77 degrees west, okay, because it's angled towards west. Lastly, that one there is close to south. So we're going to say south first, but we've got to find what this angle is, okay, that it has to move towards that line. To do that, we just get the 250 degrees right there, but we got to minus it by this angle, which is that full 180. So 250 minus 180 is simply 70 degrees. So our compass bearing will be from south 70 degrees towards the easterly direction. Now, the other thing is we have to find the true bearing. So to find the true bearing of each one of these, we start from a northerly direction and go clockwise until we hit that line. So the first one is just 59 degrees. The second one will require us to find out this whole entire angle. So starting from north, going to clockwise direction, and that's 360 minus 78, which is going to become 200 and let me check, it's 270 plus another 12, so 282 degrees. For our next one, this one's quite obvious. Okay, that's the angle that you need to find, which is already 98 degrees. True bearing. Question J would be this angle needed to be found, which is already 240 degrees. So we say the true bearing is 240 degrees true bearing. This one's already found as well. Okay, that is the true bearing already. So we say it's just 283 degrees true bearing. And last but not least, question L will be 360 minus that angle to get this remaining angle here. And 360 minus 250 is 110 degrees true bearing.